Last class, we have discussed few of the features of the transformer, and we have discussed like why transformer testing is important. So we'll start with transformer testing. What are the methods of transformer test, and how do we obtain the parameters of the transformer testing? So we have discussed that there is a core in the transformer, and this core is the one where the flux is established. So the winding outer terminals are obtained, and through these terminals all the test has to be done. So basically we try to obtain the shunt parameters. So the parameters which are in parallel are known as the shunt parameters, and the parameters which are in series are known as series parameters. So we have to obtain the shunt parameters and the series parameters by performing few of the tests. The performance of a transformer can be calculated on the basis of its equivalent circuit. So generally we try to obtain the equivalent circuit of a transformer so that we can determine the performance of the transformer. So what is the performance of the transformer? Performance of the transformer is generally measured in terms of the efficiency or voltage regulation. So there are two parameters by which we can measure the performance of the transformer, that is efficiency and the voltage regulation, and for that we required the equivalent circuit of the transformer. The equivalent circuit of the transformer required you to find the four parameters. So what are the parameters that we are required to find? Now all the parameters are either referred on the primary side or in the secondary side. So considering that parameters are referred on the primary side, we have equivalent resistance R01. So R01 means the total resistance that is there in the primary side when your secondary resistance are referred to the primary side. Similarly, the equivalent leakage reactance will be represented with X01, the core conductance represented by G0, and the resistance is represented by R0. The magnetizing susceptance B0 and the reactance X0. So these are the four parameters which we are trying to obtain from the transformer test. So let us see how do we do the test. So basically these parameters, or which are known as the constant, can be determined by the following two tests. So one is known as the open circuit test and other is known as the short circuit test. So two tests we are going to perform to obtain the parameters. So tests also determine the voltage regulation and efficiency. So this voltage regulation and efficiency are basically used to determine the performance of any transformer. Tests are very economical and convenient because they furnish the required information without actual loading the transformer. So generally, if we load any transformer to find the efficiency, so efficiency is basically output power by input power. Then suppose you have a transformer and you are giving some input to the transformer and measuring the output, then what will happen? A heavy losses will be there in the transformer. In the transformer, these losses will account to be economic losses. So that is the reason we try to find the efficiency of the transformer rather than going by loading of the transformer, then finding the equivalent circuit. So once the equivalent circuit of the transformer is constructed, it will be easy to find the efficiency of the transformer without actual loading the transformer. So it is economical and it is convenient. Now let us first start with open circuit test. So open circuit test, as the name suggests, some side has to be open. So the first information from the open circuit test we should get is that we will keep the high voltage winding to be open. Now you have understood that from the previous few lectures that when we say the transformer rating, suppose we say 115 by 250 volt transformer. So in this transformer, we are not focusing on the primary side or the secondary side, because we can make either the 115 side primary or the 250 side primary. So rather than us saying that the winding end to be primary or secondary, we will just describe the winding end to be the low voltage winding and the high voltage winding. So here the high voltage winding will be kept open, and all the measuring instruments, so measuring instruments will be connected to the low voltage winding. So measuring instruments here are connected only the three things. One is a voltmeter to measure the voltage, ammeter to measure the current, and wattmeter to measure the power. So these are the three measuring instruments that will be connected to measure specific quantities. So open circuit test, high voltage side will be always kept open. So this side will be open, high voltage side, and the measuring instruments will be connected on the low voltage side. And through an auto transformer, we will be slowly varying the input voltage, right? So the testing will be done on a single phase transformer. So you know that in a single phase transformer, the voltage will be 230 volt. So obviously the voltage will be slowly varied from 0 to 230 volt using an auto transformer. So the lecture of auto transformer will also see like how does it operate. So let us focus on the open circuit test here. Then the open circuit test is basically used to find the shunt parameters. So we have the shunt and the series parameter. So in the open circuit test, we will just try to calculate what are the shunt parameters. So shunt parameters are basically the resistance which is responsible for the core loss, and Xm, that is the magnetizing reactance. So from the knowledge of the working principle of the transformer, you know that in the open circuit condition, we have discussed that the primary current I1 will be represented by IW, and these all are vector quantities. So IW can be further break down into two quantities, that is IW responsible for the core loss, and I mu, that is the magnetizing component of the transformer. So this is responsible for production of the flux in the transformer, and IW is responsible for the core loss. Under the open circuit test, there will not be any copper losses. So copper loss will be zero under the open circuit test. So if we draw the phasor diagram of the transformer under the no load condition, then taking the reference as flux phi, so we know that the voltage, input voltage will lead the flux by 90 degree, and the no load component I naught will be break down into two component, I mu or Im, anything which we can write, or IW. So these IW will be in phase with V1, and I mu, that is the magnetizing component, will be in phase with the flux. And the no load power factor angle phi naught will be the angle between the supply voltage and the current. Our induced EMF will be anti-phase with V1. So obviously this current I naught can be break into two quantities. One is IW, that will be I naught cos phi naught, and I mu will be I naught sin phi naught. Okay, and the supply voltage V1 is in parallel with both the components. So whether it is a resistance or whether it is a reactance. So supply voltage is in parallel. So the shunt parameters are determined by performing this test. So this is the first point. Open circuit test will be used to determine the shunt parameters. So core loss and the magnetizing current depend on applied voltage only and are practically unaltered by the load current. We are basically doing the open circuit test to find the shunt parameters, and in the shunt parameters, if you know that, and we have two parameters, one is known as the core loss and other is the magnetizing component. These two parameters majorly depend upon the supply voltage V1, and it is independent of the load current. It remains unaltered. Hence, to get these parameters, rated voltage is supplied generally to low voltage winding, keeping the high voltage side open. Now one important point here is rated voltage. So open circuit test is always performed in the rated voltage condition. So only one reading we need to take, and that is under rated voltage condition. So I naught is very small as compared to the full load current. The loss in R1 is neglected. That is the copper loss we will neglect because the no load component of the current is very small, that we have discussed previously also. Thus, the power drawn from the source is dissipated as heat in the core. So whatever the no load power will be there, that will basically be used to dissipate heat in the core and to produce the flux. So here W naught, that is the no load component of the current, this is a no load power, okay, that we can write a formula V1 I naught cos phi naught. So we know the power formula, that is Vi cos phi. So from here we can write V1 as the supply voltage, I naught is the no load component of the current in the primary circuit, and cos phi naught is the power factor, the angle between the supply voltage and the no load component. So basically we know we can find the cos phi naught value from here. So what is cos phi naught then from this equation? So it will be power divided by the product of voltage and current. So W naught divided by V1 I naught will give you the cos phi. So this is the first step which comes from the measurement, and this is the second step which you are trying to find from the calculation. So cos phi naught will be W naught by V1 I naught. Now what information do we have now? We have the measurement I naught, that is from the ammeter reading, and we have calculated the value of cos phi naught. So if we have calculated that, then it will be easy to find IW. We know that IW is equal to I naught cos phi naught. So this will be the third step, where we will try to find the current flowing through the resistance, and it will be IW is equal to I naught cos phi naught. Now if you know cos phi naught, you can easily find what is the value of sin phi naught. From cos phi naught you can find sin phi naught. So obviously the fourth step will be to find the magnetizing component of the current. So that will be I naught sin phi naught. Now you know that since the resistance and the reactance are in parallel with the supply voltage, so this is in parallel with the supply voltage V1. So this is your R naught and this is your X naught. So you have computed the current which is flowing through R naught, and you have computed the current which is flowing through X naught. So basically the fifth step will be to find the resistance R naught, that is equal to the supply voltage divided by the current which is flowing into the resistance. So this is in accordance with the Ohm's law. So we can find the resistance R naught, and similarly the sixth step will be to find what is the reactance in the circuit from the knowledge of the supply voltage and the magnetizing component that we have calculated. So in these particular steps we will be trying to find the shunt parameter using the open circuit test. So two important points that we have to remember in the open circuit test is that the first one is shunt parameters will be obtained. Second, it will be done at the rated voltage, and hence the high voltage side should be kept open and the low voltage side all measuring instruments should be connected. So we can easily obtain the resistance and the reactance connected in parallel and the no load condition. Now obviously you know that core loss will be the summation of the hysteresis loss and the eddy current loss. So here we have tried to find what is the core loss. So this W naught will give you the core loss. Then we can segregate the hysteresis loss and the eddy current loss as the total input power under the no load condition will be the sum of the hysteresis loss plus eddy current loss. And you know that the hysteresis loss and eddy current loss can be written in terms of the empirical formula, where we have two constant P and Q. So P and Q are basically two constant, and hysteresis loss is directly proportional to the maximum flux density raised to the power 1.6 multiplied with the frequency term, whereas the eddy current loss is directly proportional to Bm square into the frequency square. So if we want to find to divide what is the hysteresis loss and the eddy current loss, computing from the total core loss, so basically we have to perform two experiments. Why we are trying to find two experiments? Because there are two variables that we need to find, and these two experiments will be at two different frequency. So change the frequency of the supply, then what will happen, that the change in the voltage will be there with respect to the frequency, and there will be the magnetic flux density will be same, and then we can evaluate the constant P and Q. So once we have estimated the value of the constant P and Q by performing two experiments under two different conditions, it will be easy to find what is the segregation of hysteresis loss and the eddy current loss. So this is the open circuit test where we need to find the shunt parameters, and we have to segregate the hysteresis and eddy current loss using this empirical formula, knowing the relationship between the magnetic flux density and the frequency. So the next test that we are going to do is basically the short circuit test. So short circuit test, we are trying to find the series parameters. So the total resistance and the total reactance. So this total resistance is basically used to find the copper loss, and the total reactance is basically used to find the leakage. So copper loss and leakage we are going to find using the short circuit test, and this is referred to one of the side. Either you can refer it to the primary side or the secondary side of the transformer, because we are going to find the total copper loss and the total leakage in the transformer. Other point that need to be considered, since the short circuit test heavy current will flow, so we will never short circuit the high voltage side. We will always short circuit the low voltage winding. So low voltage winding will be short circuit, and special care has to be taken that high voltage winding should never be short circuited, because a heavy current will flow. Also, all the measuring instruments, that is the ammeter, wattmeter and voltmeters, are connected on the high voltage winding, keeping the low voltage side short circuited. Again, you have an auto transformer to slowly vary the voltage. So we will try to find the series parameters performing the short circuit test, so that we are going to see. Now input voltage is reduced to a small fraction of the rated value, and secondary terminals are short circuited. So if you remember the open circuit test, we have done at a rated voltage. So open circuit test, if you remember OC test, we have done at a rated voltage condition. Here in short circuit test, what we have to do is that the input voltage has to be kept very minimum, small fraction of the rated value. It is very minimum, that is small fraction of the rated value, and secondary terminal are short circuited. Rather than telling the secondary terminal, it is better to be tell low voltage side will be short circuited. So current will circulate in the secondary winding, that is the low voltage winding of the transformer, and since a small fraction of the rated voltage is applied to the primary winding, the flux in the core and hence the core loss is very small. So you remember that when we discussed the open circuit test, we told that the core loss basically depend upon the input voltage, and since the input voltage is only a small fraction of the rated voltage, so core loss will be small, and the entire power is basically used to dissipate the heat in the winding. So the short circuit current that is being flown in the winding is dissipated in the form of the heat, and that is a major amount of loss. Since the applied voltage is very small, so we have kept the voltage to be very small, about 5 to 8% of the rated value. The magnetizing branch can now be eliminated from the equivalent circuit. So magnetizing branch means basically the shunt parameter. So that we are going to neglect, because the input voltage is very small. Now when we have short circuited the low voltage side and we have measured three quantities. What are the quantities we have measured? We have measured the short circuit current, we have measured the short circuit voltage, and we have measured the short circuit power. So these are the three quantities which are measured on the high voltage winding of the transformer, keeping the low voltage side short circuit. So we can find the first calculation that we need to find is what is Z short circuit. Z means the total impedance in the circuit. So total impedance in the circuit is basically the division of the voltage by current under the short circuit condition. So that will give you the short circuit impedance. And you know that from the concept of, if you have a resistance and if you have a reactance in the circuit, then Z is basically under root R square plus X square. So we will use this concept to find the values of the quantities in the series parameters. So since Z we have already estimated, and resistance we can calculate from the knowledge of the power loss, we know that power loss is basically I square into resistance, that is the effective resistance of the circuit. So the power, that is the power loss during the short circuit condition, divided by the square of the current that you have measured, will give you the resistance. So we have obtained the impedance in the circuit and we have calculated the resistance. So obviously it will be easy to find the reactance. So this will be the second step, and the third step will be to find what is the reactance in the circuit. So reactance in the circuit, or the leakage reactance, so this is the leakage, will be under root the impedance square minus the resistance square. So in this way, performing the short circuit test, we can determine the series parameter. So combining the open circuit test and the short circuit test, we can construct the equivalent circuit of the transformer. Now, one very important question we are trying to answer: why transformer rating is given in kVA and not in kilowatt? So this question will be asked in the interview, and most of the times that transformer rating is always given in kVA. So if you see the nameplate rating of the transformer, it will be like 25 kVA or 1 MVA like this. It will never be given like 25 kilowatt or 30 megawatt like that. Okay, so what is the reason that transformer rating is given in kVA and not in kilowatt? So that answer we are going to give. Generally, the copper loss, that is the I square R, depends on the current which is passing through the transformer winding. So this you know, that whenever the current is passing through any winding and winding is made up of copper, there will be a loss in the form of I square R, and this is basically depending on the current because the resistance is constant for any particular material. Now, iron loss or the core loss we have discussed in the open circuit test also is basically depending on the voltage, right? So that is the reason we are performing the open circuit test under the rated voltage condition, because we want to find the full load iron loss or the core loss on the circuit. Now the total losses therefore will depend on the voltage and the current. So here copper loss and iron loss together is the total losses in the circuit. So copper loss is basically depending on the current, whereas the iron loss is depending on the voltage. So if you know the voltage and the current, it will be sufficient to determine what is the total losses in the circuit. So that means that the product of voltage into current, that is the volt ampere in the circuit, is sufficient to find what is the losses in the circuit, and no information for the load power factor is needed to determine what is the total losses. So we don't require any power factor knowledge to determine the losses. Hence, we can just summarize that transformer rating may be expressed in volt ampere or kVA and not in watt or kilowatt, because the complex power is equal to VI, whereas the real power is equal to VI cos phi. So here the unit is in kilowatt and here the unit is in kVA. So this cos phi term, which is the power factor, is not required in the transformer to determine the losses. So we don't require cos phi, so the product of voltage and current is sufficient, which is the kVA or the volt ampere of the transformer. Hence the answer is transformer rating is given in kVA, not in kilowatt. Now manufacturer design in transformer with no idea which kind of load will be connected to the transformer. So you know that you have connected the load in the secondary terminal of the transformer, and when any manufacturer construct a transformer, he is having no idea whether the load that is being connected in the secondary terminal is either resistive, capacitive, inductive, or the combination of anything. So load can be either resistive, inductive, capacitive, or mixed RLC. So the manufacturer is not having that idea. So it means that there would be different power factor at the secondary load condition. Different kind of load will depend on different RLC network. So since the manufacturer is not aware whether the load connected by the any user, it will be either resistive load, inductive load, capacitive, or the mixed of that. So he is not depending on the power factor, and generally the losses in the transformer will depend on the product of voltage and current. So hence the answer will be transformer rating is given in kVA, not in kilowatt. The next topic that we are going to take is what is the voltage regulation of a transformer. So what is voltage regulation, how do we define it, and how do we calculate for a transformer, that we are going to see. So we have seen the voltage regulation in case of DC machine too. So let us see in terms of AC machine. So the percentage of voltage difference between the no load and full load voltage of a transformer with respect to full load voltage is known as the voltage regulation. So if you remember in DC machine, what we have discussed the voltage regulation, that when you suddenly throw the load from a running condition, and what is the rise in the voltage, that is the voltage regulation. So the difference between the voltage under the no load condition and the full load condition is known as the voltage regulation. So voltage regulation has to be kept very minimum. So minimum the voltage regulation, better the machine is. So the performance of the machine is basically calculated in terms of the voltage regulation. So voltage regulation is basically the difference between the no load and full load voltage, and the reference that we take to calculate the voltage regulation is basically the full load voltage. Okay, because the full load voltage is the one which is the rating of the machine, right? So full load voltage is basically the rating of the machine which is given on the nameplate details. So voltage regulation is E2 minus V2 by V2 into 100, where E2 is the no load voltage and V2 is basically the full load voltage of the transformer. So at no load condition, what is happening? At no load condition, the secondary terminal voltage will be E2. So if you remember, at the no load condition, we have seen that E2 will be equal to V2 because your I2 is 0. So your I2, which is 0 under the no load condition, so there will be E2 will be becomes equal to V2 because there will be no losses on the secondary side of the transformer. So at full load condition, rated current flows through the secondary circuit of the transformer and voltage drops comes into picture. So what is happening now? You have a transformer and in the secondary of the transformer you have connected a load, right? Now this load, if it is under the full load condition, then what is happening? The current that is flowing in the secondary circuit I2 is under the full load current. So this full load current will give you the loss which is in the secondary of the resistance. So I2 square into R. This will be the losses in the secondary of the transformer, and that is under the full load condition. So under the full load condition, your current is flowing under rated values in the secondary circuit, and obviously there will be some losses. But under the no load condition, there will not be any losses because I2 is 0. So at this situation, the primary winding will also draw equivalent full load current from source. If you understand the working principle of a transformer, you have seen that when we change the load on the transformer, so there is a variable load, obviously it will affect the primary current, because to keep the flux constant in the machine. So once the current in the secondary is changing, the current in the primary circuit is affected because to keep the flux constant. So at this situation where the primary winding will draw the equivalent full load current from the source. So when the secondary is under the full load current is flowing in the secondary, and this is affecting the primary current too. So primary is drawing the full load current from the source. So the voltage drop due to the secondary impedance is I2 Z2. So since the full load current I2 is flowing in the secondary circuit and the impedance in the secondary circuit is Z2, so the voltage drop will be I2 into Z2. We have already calculated the losses in the transformer. So what is the voltage drop we have calculated? So voltage regulation, then we can be determine that voltage regulation is basically the difference of E2 minus V2, and that is basically the voltage drop. So what is the voltage drop in the machine? So we have calculated that voltage drop in the machine is I2 R2 cos theta 2 plus minus I2 x2 sin theta 2, where plus is for the lagging load and negative is for the leading load condition, where the reference we are always setting as the secondary voltage under the full load condition. Secondary voltage under the full load condition. So in the previous discussion we have discussed that this equation is corresponding to voltage drop in the machine. So the E2 minus V2, which is the no load voltage minus the full load voltage of the machine, is basically the total voltage drop in the machine. So total voltage drop divided by the full load voltage will basically give you the voltage regulation of the machine. So if the load is basically leading, then you put a negative sign, and if the load is lagging, you put a positive sign to determine the voltage drop. Generally in industries you will find that the load is lagging in nature. So 99% possibility is there you will get a lagging load. You will not get a leading load. Now let us see the voltage regulation at some power factor lagging and leading. So this we have already discussed this vector diagram when we have calculated the voltage drop of the machine. So same thing here also, we are just taking a revision of that. So here you have the voltage which is at the full load condition, the current that is drawn under the full load condition. So theta 2 is basically the load power factor angle. So here if the load is lagging in nature, you can see that current is lagging the voltage by an angle theta. Whereas if the load is leading in nature, the current is leading the voltage by an angle of theta. So that is the difference between a lagging load and a leading load. And then with the knowledge of the KVL equation of the transformer, we can see the total drop I2 R2 here is due to the drop in the resistance of the secondary circuit, and I2 X2 is basically the drop due to the reactance of the circuit. And in the secondary, if you write the equation, E2 is equal to V2 plus I2 into Z2. So this equation is the KVL equation on the secondary side of the transformer. So obviously we can find that E2 will be here, because you have, this is the V2 and then this is the total drop I2 into Z2. So here you can get what is E2. So if you just draw some perpendicular and try to find, then we have already done this, so I'll not repeat it. So E2 minus V2 will got the voltage drop, which we have seen the equation of this. So plus minus you just put it to determine what is the lagging condition and the leading condition, taking the reference to be at the full load voltage. So this reference will be at full load, and voltage regulation will be expressed in percentage. So you multiply it with 100. Okay, so lower the voltage regulation, better the efficiency, better the performance of the machine. Now let us discuss the efficiency of a transformer. So efficiency, so we have seen that equivalent circuit of a transformer we are drawing to find the performance of the machine, and in the performance voltage regulation and efficiency plays a very important role. So next topic after discussing the voltage regulation is the efficiency. So efficiency is basically the output power by input power. So what is the output power of the machine by input power of the machine? Now if you load the transformer, so if you have a transformer, you put an input voltage, there will be input power and there will be an output power. So output by input, if you do it, then obviously you can try to find the efficiency. But we will not try to find the efficiency of the machine directly by loading the machine, because there will be a heavy power loss in the machine. So this is not a wise idea to find the efficiency of the machine. Rather, we will go by some different method of finding the efficiency of the machine. Now, the input power can be written as output power plus losses. So, input power can be written as output power plus losses. So, then the efficiency will become output power by output power plus losses. So, what is the losses in the machine? The losses in the machine is basically iron loss plus copper loss. So, power loss in the machine, losses in the machine, you can sum up to iron loss plus copper loss. Now, the efficiency equation become output power by output power plus losses, which is the sum of iron loss plus copper loss. If what is the output power in the machine? So power 2, that is the output power, is basically what is the voltage 2 multiplied by current 2 into cos theta 2. So the secondary voltage multiplied with the secondary current and the power factor cos phi 2, that is the angle difference between this voltage and the current, will give you the power in the secondary circuit. So basically the output power will be V2I2 cos theta 2. So it will be equal to V2I2 cos theta 2 in the denominator as well, and you will be having a sum of iron loss plus copper loss in the circuit. So the equation of the efficiency has now come here. So it is V2I2 cos theta 2 divided by V2I2 cos theta 2 plus the total loss, that is the iron loss and the copper loss. Now one information I would like to give here is that the iron loss is basically the constant losses. Iron loss is basically the constant losses, which is basically depending on the voltage V1. And the copper loss in the machine is the variable loss. Copper loss in the machine is the variable loss because it depends upon the current I. Now, as the load in the transformer is changing, obviously the current in the transformer will change. So, if the current in the transformer is changing, obviously the copper loss will change, but iron loss will remain constant. So, iron loss is a constant loss which is irrespective of the load condition, it will remain constant, whereas the copper loss, which is depending on the current, is a variable loss and is depend on the load current. So the copper loss can be written as I square into the total resistance. Now remember here, in case of a transformer, either you can calculate I1 square into R1 plus I2 square into R2, or you can do to refer the resistance of the transformer either in the primary circuit or the secondary circuit, and then you can do IN square into RT. So N can be 1 or 2 either in the primary circuit or in the secondary circuit, and RT is basically the total resistance in the circuit. So iron loss, which is the sum of the hysteresis loss plus eddy current loss, is constant. So if the load in the transformer is changing, so how do we define the load then? If X is the fraction of the full load. Now we will define the load as, if X is the fraction of the full load, so X will be 1 under the full load condition, and for any other load it will be X into full load. So X into full load. So obviously the efficiency at any other load will be defined as X into output. So output power is V2I2 cos theta 2. So this is under the full load condition. So this is under the full load condition. So at any other load, you multiply with this is X. So if we try to find what is the power at 1/4 of the full load condition, so you have to multiply that with 0.25, right? What is the load under the, means if the load is half, what is the power? So 1/2 into V2I2 cos theta 2, like that. So X into output will give you the output power. Then you know that the denominator will be constant X into output, and iron loss is irrespective of the load quantity, it will be constant. So Pi, it will be there, and the copper loss, since it is depending on the current square term, so copper loss is proportional to square of the current, so it is proportional to X square, that is the load percentage square. So X square into PC. So X square into PC means what is the copper loss at 50% of the full load, then it will be 1 by 2 square into PC. So it will be 1 by 2 square into PC at the 50% load condition. So the equation of the efficiency of the transformer has improved now. We have got at any load condition it will be x into V2I2 cos theta 2 divided by x into V2I2 cos theta 2 plus iron loss, which is constant irrespective of the load condition, and copper loss will be x square I2 square into R2. So when we try to determine the efficiency of the transformer, we, irrespective of loading the transformer, we try to find what is the power at the maximum load condition. So power is basically given in the nameplate detail of a transformer. So when you purchase a transformer, at the nameplate you will get what is the maximum power for that particular machine. So that reading will be given in kVA. And then if you multiply that with cos phi, so you will get what is the power at the full load condition. So at a particular load cos phi power factor condition, you will get the power. So here x into V2I2 cos theta 2 you can easily calculate depending upon the load, right? So load will govern what is this cos theta 2. If the load is resistive in nature, obviously the cos theta 2 value will be 1, and if the load is inductive or capacitive, then this cos theta 2 will change. Now this x will depend upon what type of consumers are there and how much loading is put on a particular transformer. So if the transformer is loaded 1/4 of the maximum full load, so x will be 0.25. If the transformer is loaded for 50% of the full load condition, then it will be 0.50. So you can see from this equation of the efficiency that we are not directly loading the machine, rather than we are going from the equation to find the efficiency of the machine. So you can save a huge amount of power, and then also you can determine the efficiency of the machine. So that is what we are doing in the lab when we try to find the equivalent circuit of the machine. At the short circuit condition, what is happening, we try to give the maximum current, that is the rated current, that is the full load current of the machine. So it is under the full load power. So short circuit will give you the full load power of the machine, and open circuit will try to determine what is the iron loss in the machine. So that is the reason equivalent circuit of the transformer is very important in order to determine the efficiency and other performance like voltage regulation of the machine. We will stop our discussion till here, and then we'll go in the next class.